Good evening. You're very welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Energy Football Lounge. And I am your host, the Wraith Sith Lord Rebel. I'm joined by the Prophet, Cullum, and young Grasshopper, who's yet to have the glorified Wraith, Ross. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
How much Wraith have you had today? That is the first question I want to ask. I'm doing well.
This?
Yes, that stuff. I'm doing well, thank you. I am doing well. Busy day, but I'm ready to talk some football.
Excellent. Now, Ross, I don't know if you've come across this story today. I sent it to Colm earlier on in the day on the WhatsApp. The dog ate my homework is a common excuse that we used to have in school. But unfortunately for one Newcastle fan, they ate his Carabao Cup final tickets. His irreplaceable Carabao Cup final tickets.
Yeah, I saw that online, but you didn't send it to me, Rebel. I'm disappointed. You probably didn't save me on speed dial. Next time, send me those articles. I want to read them. But I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, and apparently poor old Poochie is up for adoption. So if you are looking for a new house dog, he is available at the moment.
That dog saved him from a bad night. If anything, he needs to be promoted to sleeping on the bed.
But apparently, Colm, as a goalkeeper, you've appreciated quite a number of goalkeeping-related shenanigans in the game of football. And Laureus, how to blow a Champions League Karius, is going to be in goal for Newcastle.
Honestly, there's not much age difference between me and Laureus, I believe. How he's even a professional goalkeeper, I'm not 100% sure. Because, yes, okay, he has games where he's fantastic and, well, I say fantastic. He has games where he's capable of being a goalkeeper, but the amount of times he's cost teams is too much. And, I'm going to be surprised if he manages to keep the scoreline below 5 on Sunday. I'm not going to lie.
So they're going to rate his heart in pieces. Speaking of Wraith, we do need to get our official energy drink partners a shout out. Code FTSN22 gets you a 10% discount for the superior, healthier version of your energy needs. Wraith Energy. Thank you very much, Wraith. So, and we will move on now to today's conversations. Before we get on to the red card rule, because obviously this is associated with that game on Sunday, there's obviously a wee competition going on at the moment called the Champions League. It wasn't a great outing for the English side last week. Will Liverpool and Man City fare any better, is what I'd like to ask ye.
I'll let Ross go first. Go on, Ross.
Yes, because last week it was only the Mickey Mouse English clubs playing. So what can you expect? I'll let that humor myself. I don't care.
But no. You're saying the Mickey Mouse Premier League clubs are playing, but I'm sure Liverpool is playing Real Madrid tonight.
Who cares about them? Who cares about Liverpool? I'd rather walk alone. Don't talk to me about that. But on a serious note, look, the English clubs are famed for having a tough time as soon as they get to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Usually around this time, the Premier League is so compact with a lot of back-to-back games. Besides the Premier League, they've also had to fit in cup games as well. It's a very tiresome period that the English clubs are going through at the moment compared to other countries other clubs of countries that's going to be represented in the Champions League. So fatigue does come into it, and you see that. That's why you also end up seeing sometimes clubs play second string sides in the Premier League or Cups because they know that they have one eye on the Champions League. Most notably, Manchester City are famed for rotation, and Guardiola's been tinkering with a lot of different styles and tactics to try and in my opinion, to try target the Champions League. And we've seen how some of that has worked, and also some of it has backfired as well. Look, I do think that one of the Premier League clubs will go far this season. I personally believe Manchester City will fight all the way to the final, because I do believe that a lot of those players are hungry and they have that desire. Also, I do think that it is time that Manchester City go all the way and get the Champions League. But that's just me.
Just question for you before we do come to Colin's views on the Champions League. Speaking of Mickey Mouse teams and competitions, are you keeping an eye on the Championship tonight, Ross? Because they could be some of your rivals next season.
Funny, but I say Mickey Mouse clubs, not competition. I mean, I love Aston Villa, and we are former champions of Europe ourselves. So it's only a matter of time before we get back into the Champions League. It will be soon. It will be soon, hopefully in my lifetime, but I'm sure it will be soon.
Colin, over to you. I can't.
I'm not going to burst Ross's bubble. I'll let him live in that little dreamland he's in at the minute. Yeah, terrible showing last week. Spurs getting beat by Milan 1-0. Milan are a very good side, in all fairness. I did speak to some people in a Spurs channel. I said to him, listen, you're taking Milan too lightly here. They've got a lot of good players, and they will punish you. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, who's playing tonight? It is Madrid, Liverpool tonight. I don't see Liverpool getting anything out of this at all, even if it is at Anfield. Real Madrid are the current holders of the cup, and I mean, they're doing very, very well. I wouldn't want to play them at all. Because they've got a thing about showing up in the Champions League. That's what they kind of do. And then tomorrow, I know it's RB Leipzig versus City. City shouldn't have an issue with that at all. If I'm going to be honest with you, I think they'll get through. But I don't see City winning it. I think it's going to be either. My guess who's going to win it is probably going to be Madrid or Bayern Munich.
Speaking of the Madrid team, that's the lineup for Madrid tonight. Courtois, Alba, Rudiger, Milito, Carvajal, Modric, Camavinga, Valverde, Vinicius, Benzema, and Rodrigo.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It'll be an interesting game tonight for him, because obviously Liverpool seem to have found a little bit of form. Is it 2 wins on the bounce for Liverpool now, or something like that? But I mean, I don't know how they're going to be able to stop that front three of Madrid. That's going to be difficult.
The midfield for Liverpool, Ross, Henderson, Fabinho, and Bajetic. How are they going to stack up against probably one of the greatest tacticians in centre midfield, Modric, of our time, Camavinga and Valverde?
Look, what a performance by the Liverpool youngster. Please forgive me for his pronunciation. I'm going to avoid pronouncing it because I know I'll butcher it. But what a performance he put in the last showing for Liverpool. That looks quite strong. Henderson, hopefully he's able to come back into some sort of form, because he has been shocking this season. He's had to make up for a lot of the mistakes that's happening on the right side of the pitch from Trent and Salah that hasn't been firing, and he's been pulled out of position to try and cover the ground that's been left open. I do think Liverpool might be on an uptrend now. They have gone through a prolonged period of just being so underwhelming and not performing statistically and on the pitch as well. And it's only it's just a matter of time before it starts working for them, especially with Cody Gakpo hopefully coming into some form as well and showing some sort of sight that Liverpool, or the player that Liverpool thought they had bought.
Absolutely. Now, Colm, you mentioned Man City. They're playing tomorrow. It's the trophy that has eluded Pep Guardiola at the club since he joined. He's been given resource after resource after resource in order to deliver to the Champions League, but thus far has fallen short of the mark. This year, he's got the goal-scoring talent of one Mr. Haaland. but it looks like they are still stuttering and they're struggling to be productive across all games. It's like having such a prestigious talent is after forcing them to be a bit more one-dimensional. Do you believe that's the case?
No, I don't think it is the case that they're more one-dimensional. In all fairness, because they've got players all over the pitch that can produce absolutely amazing things. You know, they don't always have to go through one player. Although I say that, and it seems that everything does go through Kevin De Bruyne. But the thing is, for me, with City in the Champions League is, yes, they've got all these star quality players, but they just seem to lack something. And I don't even think Erling Haaland's going to bring this something that they're lacking. You know, yes, he's going to make it an easier way of getting to the final and possibly winning because, you know, he's a natural goal scorer. He's an absolute machine. But I still think they're missing something, and I don't think they'll win it again this year.
That is a very interesting prediction. Now, last night on normally your show, I put you on the spot and we had another wee bet. And I think you're looking to strike a bit of vengeance, so...
Well, I just want to know how confident you are in Marcus Rashford.
How confident I am in Marcus Rashford? I'd be relatively confident. What are we talking here?
Do you think he can get Golden Boot?
Golden Boot over Haaland?
Over Haaland.
What's the current total for Haaland in Premier League?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't got that up at the minute.
I think it's 26, isn't it?
If it's
Let's have a look.
while Colin's looking for that, Ross, entertain the crowd with your talk of Villa there briefly.
Oh, there's nothing entertaining unless you like laughing at us. 3 losses in a row. Wow. That Arsenal game, we put up a good fight. And actually, there was a lot of frustrations, and I understand why from the Villa fans. I'm certainly frustrated, but I'm more impressed about the improvements from the last performance against Manchester City, where we fell flat. And against Arsenal, it looked like we actually were looking to prove a point. But in those last couple minutes in injury time, we just fell apart. But there was something I saw online, classic Villa, we've snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And it summed it up. It summed up that whole match. We should have won that.
You have a result for us, Colin.
Yeah, Haaland's currently on 26.
Oh,
20.
that's what I should have taken a bet on.
And Marcus is currently 16, if I'm not mistaken.
14 in the Premier League.
14. Are you sure? Because I could have sworn...
Yeah, I've got the table up in front of me, according to this.
Because I could have sworn he was within 2 of it after he's doubled the last day of 18.
According to this, he's on 14.
Hang on a second there now. Because this is important information. So yeah, according to this, 24 games, 14 goals, 3 assists. And have we 24 games played? Or have we 25?
It's 24, isn't it?
Because that will tell us whether or not it's included.
24. 24.
Okay, so he's currently 12 behind. I wouldn't say that he's going to get Golden Boot, I'll be honest with you. I think there's just too much of a gap. But I would say he'd be within single-digit figures.
Single-digit figures of Erling Haaland. Okay, I'll take you up on that one then. So if he's 10 or more goals behind Haaland at the end of the season, you have to do the one-chip challenge.
Deal.
What is this? What is a one-chip challenge?
It's the world's spiciest tortilla chip.
Yeah. Deal.
And obviously, if he's 9 or lower, I will do it.
Oh, okay. We have a deal. I'll have to make sure I may have to get it here, but let me just Google that. You talk amongst yourselves, and I'll just make sure I can actually get this thing before I commit to it.
And I think you know, Ross and Rebel should have one about Villa staying up or going down as well. See, so
Wow, we're staying up. We're staying up.
Rebel's saying you're playing at Championship next year. Don't take it.
I was taking the Schmeichels on that one. In fairness, so can you get the one chip challenge in Ireland? No. Have you got it? Can you?
I can get it. I can get it, and I'll
Right.
send you it.
Perfect. So yeah,
You're gonna lose, so I'll send you it.
fair enough. Yeah, I'm happy to pay for it, but I might need help getting it.
No worries. There you go. Another bet on Full Time Sports Network.
So at this stage we have, if Rashford eats 18, you're doing gummies until it's not physically safe for you to eat those gummies anymore. What was the other one? If Brighton don't make Champions League, you're eating more of those gummies, bizarrely. And now we have the one chip challenge roulette machine.
Yep, pretty much.
Start
There we
eating
go.
those gummies because there's no way Brighton's making Champions League.
You don't know that. I did maths
It's
earlier.
not happening.
I did maths earlier, and I did it so like, games that I thought they would win and games that I think they'd draw and everything, and they are mathematically able to get fourth place if things plan out as to how.
Villa are mathematically able to get into European spots, but are the
Villa are
likelihood of
also
us doing it?
mathematically able to get relegated, but shush,
Right, gentlemen. There is 3 in the chat. Please do continue to give us a like, share, and a subscribe. We do appreciate the support here on the Full Time Sports Network. I'm just going to get your brief thoughts on the Europa League. We won't spend too long on it because we do need to get into the red card situation. But Manchester United are obviously going to be facing FC Barcelona at Old Trafford, having taken a draw from them in their own backyard and arguably having played the better of the football. We will have the returning suspended Sabitzer back. We will have the returning Butcher back. And obviously we still have Anthony Martial and Harry Maguire as fitness doubts. Just briefly, how you think this is going to go on Thursday?
United are going to dominate. We dominated at Nou Camp. We're going to dominate at Old Trafford, especially with the fans behind us as well.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Barcelona looked really flat, and I'm surprised that United didn't come out there with the win. They looked like they were a team to have been gotten at, and I don't know how Barcelona survived that. I mean, I adore Barcelona. I do enjoy watching their football, but they were a missile against Manchester United.
There we are. So Manchester United to get through against Barcelona, and that takes us to last 16 or quarterfinals. I can't remember.
This is qualification for last 16.
Oh, yeah. So we're in the round of 32 essentially at the moment.
Yeah, essentially.
Very good, very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is main event time. The red card rule has one that has been under the spotlight other than VAR of late. Obviously, we've seen the implications of bad VAR decisions for one official already, and there's further review pending. But the number one keeper in Premier League at the moment, Pope, lost all spatial awareness at weekend and decided by a margin of about 20 feet to dive down and handle ball. Obviously, he had a lapti-pa moment and just didn't think about where he was relative to his box. But the resulting impact of that is, even though it was in Premier League, he misses the cup final. Now, Colm, you are going to argue that change needs to be made because the punishment doesn't match up with the competition that it has been done in. Floor's yours.
Yeah, so I do honestly think that this rule needs to be looked at quite a bit actually. I feel like if you're getting a red card in the Premier League, then you should serve your sentence in Premier League games. if you've got a red card in FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever, these other competitions, you serve your time in them. And I know people are going to turn around and say, because I know we've had a little discussion about it earlier on in the day, what if they receive a red card and the team goes out? Then they've got to wait until next season. It's going to be a long gap. Well, then let's say Nick Pope, obviously, I know it's the final, but let's say Nick Pope's got this red card, but he got it in the Carabao Cup. And let's say it's only the first couple of rounds. If Newcastle got knocked out, then that suspension transfers over to the domestic league. So it only serves it as the Premier League ones. Because it's the only way it's actually going to work, But him missing out on a cup final because he's made a stupid decision. I mean, I'm a goalkeeper. I've done it. You lose spatial awareness. It does happen. And it's an honest error. He's not done it intentionally. He's just completely forgot where he was. And now he has to miss probably one of the biggest games of his career because he's got a red card in a domestic league, not in a cup game.
Interesting points, Colm, but let's play the devil's advocate here. First of all, the administration point of it, and this is going to be something I'm going to throw to Ross in a second, is at the moment, we know that European-related issues stay within European-related issues, regardless of which competition. If you have a suspension from the Tottenham Hotspur Europa League Conference League, and you then transfer to Manchester United to play Champions League, your suspension from playing with Spurs in the Conference League carries with you into Europe. That's why Sabitzer missed the first leg of the Bayern Munich game. But if you're putting in a caveat that you have to serve the suspension in that year, is this going to lead to an unnecessary administrative burden on the staff of each club, the staff of the FA, in order to try and make sure that suspensions are served at the appropriate time? Rossi?
Yeah, first of all, we need to sympathize with Nick Pope here. As Colm said, he's potentially missing one of the biggest games of his career. So it's something that I think every person, as a human and a player, as a supporter, you have to feel sorry for him. It's not something that you wish on any player. When it comes to the administration side, I think when you look at it from clubs and players moving from club to club, then fine. It's only fair that they serve the suspension because they've obviously committed infringements, they've been booked, and they've accumulated either a certain number of yellow cards or got a red card, and they will be suspended. That's fair. But when you come and look at how we look here, where you've been suspended in a domestic game, and you have a cup game in the same league, and you put the same club that you play in, although it's a different competition, I do think it's unfair that it gets transferred over. It's so unfair in this instance. Different story, and okay, this is a good example of how I think it is fair. When Paul Pogba was playing for Juventus and he went back to United, he was suspended in the Champions League, and he had to serve that suspension at Manchester United. That's fine and fair. There's no problem with that. But this is a bit of an issue, and I think it's something that Newcastle have actually grounds to appeal if they push hard enough. Because it just, realistically, it is unfair. You've now robbed a player of an experience that they might never be able to have again, just because they've committed an infringement in one competition. For it to be carried over to the next one it's just something that doesn't seem right to me. It's not parallel.
Okay, let's play the devil's advocate here, and this is the point that I made in our preamble conversation. I'm playing, and Colm is on the team that is playing against us. I'd go full Chopper Harris mode on him and end his season. I break his leg. The team that Colm's playing on subsequently goes on to knock my team out of the competition. I've obviously already been dismissed for an absolutely heinous challenge. But because of the way that rule change would work, unless there is significant kind of, I suppose, legislation put in place, there's a good chance that I would then have to wait until next season. And there's no guarantee that I'll even start in the next iteration of the League Cup for my team. They might decide, look, you know what? You're not going to be playing anyway. And I'm basically serving a suspension, even though it was probably a game I was never going to play in.
You see, I have been thinking about this. I mean, I do feel for Nick Pope. I really do. I have been in the situation that he is in my playing career. Okay, it's not the same level. I wasn't playing in the Carabao Cup final or anything. But I got sent off in a league game, and we had a cup final coming up at the end of the week, and I had to miss it, and I didn't get it. So I can understand how he's feeling, because to me that was my Carabao Cup final. I understand what you're getting as well. It is a difficult one, but the thing is that I'm saying about it is the Premier League is a 42 game season, or
38.
38, 42 for lower leagues and all that kind of stuff. So to serve suspensions in the league seems it's fine. A cup game is a one and done. Tends to be one and done. It's a knockout competition. So you're saying that we're playing, you get a red card because you've put in a hard tackle and it's injured somebody. You've got a red card. But if you go through to the next round, your suspension still stands. You're not playing in the next round of the cup. However, if you get knocked out, maybe we need to think about not this whole transferring Premier League red cards to cup games, but why don't we transfer the cup game red cards to the Premier League? Because then you're still serving a suspension if your team is knocked out. Either way, you're missing your games that you're supposed to be missing. And I don't think it should be a red card in the Carabao Cup means that you miss the FA Cup or vice versa. I think if you get a red card in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup and then your team gets knocked out before your suspension is over, then that last one or two or whatever it is transfers over to the Premier League. You miss that one because then the action is still being taken.
Okay.
I agree
Ross.
with that. But before we go further, Colm, did your team end up winning that final?
No, we lost that final.
How did that make you feel?
Honestly, I felt like I let everybody down. Absolutely everybody. And it was, I didn't do the same thing as what Pope did, but I had to think about it. We were 1-0 up. We were trying to get promoted as well at the same time. We were 1-0 up and their play were through on goal. I've come out of my box to close him down. He's beat me and he's got over my leg. Straight red card. I'm last man. So there's nothing I could do about it. But I felt like I let the whole team down and I just literally wanted the ground to swallow up and just take me away.
Interesting point. Now, there is a lot of questions over the situations with those cup finals because the yellow card rule, if I'm carrying a yellow card into a game and I get a yellow card during that game, I miss the next iteration of that competition through suspension. It doesn't carry in to the next domestic English fixture. So the two rules seem to be at odds at each other, don't they?
They do. They need to bring both rules together. That's what they need to do. Like I said, and Ross agreed. If you're getting red carded, or if you've got so many suspensions in a cup game and you're still in those tournaments, then they're fine. Serve them as you normally would. Serve them in your cup games. Or if you're knocked out, then transfer those ones over to the Premier League. The relevant action is still being taken. Nobody's getting suspended sentences or anything like that. They're all being dealt with right then and there.
Now, the question I have
another point I want to make before you carry on the rebel. If you get 5 yellow cards in the Premier League, you're suspended for 1 game.
Before so now what happened? The 19th game.
4. All right. So, hang on. Are you sure it's 4?
No, before the 19th game, it goes up
Before
to
the
10.
19th
Then
game?
after the 19th, like if you make it to the halfway point of the season, and you've only had 4 yellow cards, if you get a 5th yellow card in the 20th game, your limit is now 10, not 5.
Wow, I didn't know that. Hey, thank you for that little bit of information there. Okay, but let's put it this way: if before the 19th game you get to your 5th yellow card and you have a cup game, that's the next fixture. Are you suspended for that cup game?
Yes.
I don't think you are. You? Oh, I don't find that fair. I don't think that's fair at all.
This is what I mean. I don't think it's fair at all because obviously I live in Doncaster. You know, I've been and watched Doncaster Rovers for many, many years. You know, it's my local club. I've gone and watched them. Doncaster Rovers have drew out some big clubs in the past. You know, some massive clubs. We've faced Manchester United, Manchester City, Aston Villa, Arsenal. You know, we've played all these kind of clubs. And for the players that are playing in the lower leagues, these clubs, you know, they're a once in a lifetime kind of event. You know, you're not guaranteed. And I've seen players in the lower leagues get a red card in a league match, and then the next game is a cup game. That's it. That's their chance of playing against the big boys gone. I just think it's so unfair.
Now, I'm going to play one last question with you. Bruno Guimaraes got sent off in the previous round of the League Cup. So, if we were to play out the situation as you said it, instead of missing Mr. Pope, they're missing their midfield creative maestro, Bruno Guimaraes. If you're sitting there as manager, which one are you more concerned about missing?
Pope.
Pope. Nick Pope.
Because they've got players out on that pitch, you know, players like your St. Maximin and your Almiron and all these other players that can do what Bruno can do. You know, they ain't got anybody else there that can do what Pope can do.
Well, I'd imagine if they had Dubravka uncup-tied, they probably would have been a bit more confident about it then. Now, not saying that he's anywhere near Nick Pope, but he's probably a damn sight further down the tube than Karius.
100%. I mean, I like Dubravka. Dubravka's a good goalkeeper. You know, it's a shame, obviously, for Newcastle that he is cup-tied, but I've got no sympathy. You know, they knew he was going to play for United in the cup anyway, so when he went back, they knew the situation there. But
Was that his only appearance for us?
Yes.
Or
yeah, pretty much. But when was the last time you saw Karius in between the sticks?
Champions League final.
Yeah, that's the last time I watched him. I don't remember him since then.
He hasn't played football in God knows how long. So out of the two, I would have said Pope is the big miss.
So if you're Newcastle manager Eddie Howe, and you're looking at Karius, a guy that has probably all confidence at this point, and then you're looking at your youth reserve team, do you kind of go around, do you know what, F it, I'll play the kid?
No. I don't think you do that. Look, if Karius was, if there was nothing left to him or his career, he wouldn't be at Newcastle right now. He's there for a reason. Eddie Howe and the management team can see him. They've watched him every day at training. We don't know how he is now because obviously our last perception of him is that Champions League final. I have a feeling he might surprise us. And look, after the cup final, I could be on here eating my words. But I mean, this lines up perfectly to be some magical comeback. And he ends up, I don't know, making a couple great saves, maybe even winning on penalties, saving all 5 penalties. Who knows? But this is an opportunity for him to have his redemption. And he might take it.
Now, the thing is, though, that you say that they obviously see something in him. He was what, 4th, 5th choice keeper?
They brought Dubravka back, so they didn't have to play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's very important to look at context. Before Eddie Howe came in, he had Carl Dallo playing as number 1 because Dubravka got injured. Then Eddie Howe came in, bought Nick Pope. Dubravka wanted to be challenging for number 1. And I don't think Eddie Howe had faith in him to be fighting for the number one place, especially after recovering from injury against Nick Pope. Clearly, Nick Pope is a much better goalkeeper, and that's no slate onto Dubravka because he is a good goalkeeper. Just Nick Pope is better and better suited to the way Eddie Howe likes to play. Hence why he got sent off to Manchester United to try and fight for a place there. But it wasn't even like Man United were the only choice. There was a couple of other clubs as well. Everton were in for a shout, as well as Wolves. But Dubravka and his agent forced the move to United because it's Manchester United. Dubravka wanted to cut his teeth against the best that were out there. And it just didn't work out. Obviously, it was on loan. And we saw that because he was recalled. Perhaps Karius actually didn't get the opportunity to try and actually get an appearance from a cup game or from a league game because there was other keepers ahead of him at the time. Because obviously Caradello came back. Dubravka now obviously being recalled from Manchester United. But it would be a different story if Dubravka right now was still at Man United and Caradello was maybe out of favour. Then Karius could be number 2. So it's all about context, the way I see it.
Interestingly, you said that Karius came in maybe to fight and push first place. That's like us saying that, do you know what, we brought Jack Butland to push De Gea for a place in the England or in the United team. The honest fact is we needed a bum on the bench, and he was the bum that was available. Interestingly, though, there is another keeper apparently at the club, and that is Mark Joseph Gillespie.
I don't know too much about him, to be honest with you.
I know nothing about him. I'm not going to lie. Who's that?
So he came in 2020, having been originally one of the youth keepers at Newcastle between 2000 and 2008, and spending most of his career at Carlisle United. So he hasn't exactly played in the bright lights of cup finals either. But like the risk reward factor playing Karius, like this guy, if he makes any major blunder in this cup final game, he's going to be a meme for the rest of his life.
He's 30 years old. Right?
Nah, he will come back and he'll be back stronger. His mentality, I'm certain, will be a surprise to all of us. And maybe that's even one of the reasons why Newcastle bought him. Just to have that experience or player's experience to know when things don't go wrong, how do you recover from that mentally? And I'm sure he's had a lot of life lessons that he could have shared with the team and help boost the squad in that way. Because football is more than just your football ability. It's about how you're able to come back from hard times and be self-motivating. That could be an element of why he's there.
Colum, this sounds like there's an opportunity for another FTSN patented bet moment, because Ross seems supremely confident in Karius. Do you want to extend a challenge to Ross?
I don't know whether I can do it to him. I don't know whether I can. But I just want to say, this Gillespie guy, yeah, he's 30 years old. Right. At 30 years old, he's played, 274 games. And he's been playing down in the lower leagues. The fact that he's 30 and he's only got that many under his belt shows he's not good enough. He's literally there as a last gasp backup. And it's, between him and obviously Karius, it's a flip a coin, really, because I don't think either one of them are going to be good enough at all.
Actually, interestingly, it was in September 2020, he actually sent Newcastle to the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup in a penalty shootout. So obviously he was emergency cover brought in July of 2020. He had a bit of heroics, and they said, you know what now, son? Here's a contract to see out your career. But
he's never played in the Premier League.
This was EFL Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. He's never played a single game at top flight level.
But to finish the show, bet or no bet for Ross on... I suppose he'd be taking advantage of poor old Ross, in fairness.
Go on, Ross. Go on. What do you want to bet? Do you want to bet, Ross?
I don't even know how we would bet this. What am I supposed to say? Karius to make 5 or more saves. Newcastle to win, because I don't think Newcastle will win. I think Manchester United have way too much in their arsenal to be swept aside by Newcastle. It's also I don't think. Look, I'm gonna go on record. I don't think Newcastle will win, but I think Karius won't have as a bad game as what people predict him to have.
I'm saying that Karius is going to ship 3 or more goals. That's how poor I think he is.
So, what's your score prediction then?
I reckon it's going to be 3-1 United.
I'm going to have to hurry you up because it is coming up towards that witching hour. If there is a bet to be made, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm not taking a bet. I'm just here to say Karius he might surprise us. That's what I'm saying.
You surely have some sort of a spicy, flaming hot food sitting down there in South Africa that would entertain the viewers if you lose a bet with.
I got some chilies, but I don't know if they'll be entertaining to watch. Watch me get sick from eating chilies.
Well, I'm going to be doing the 1 chip challenge by the looks of it. Colm's going to be eating God knows how many of those jellies. So, misery loves company.
Nah, he's not going to take it. It's fine. I'll get him on something else.
All right. I'll eat 1 devil's chili. Yeah, we have this thing. Yeah, devil's chili. I'll eat 1 devil's chili if Karius ships 3 or more.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The betting triangle is now complete. And on that bombshell, as Jeremy Clarkson would say, it is time to end the show. Thank you to Colm. Thank you to Ross. Thank you to our wonderful Full-Time Sports Network viewers. And remember, if you are looking for an alternative energy drink solution, Wraith is your one-stop shop. Use code FTSN22 to get a 10% discount. But from us, it's a good night and enjoy the Champions League.